Hey, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Serena.
And you're listening to
Girl Next Door.
We're your favorite neighbors, bringing real talk, good vibes, and all the cozy feels right to your ears.
Whether we're talking life, love, family, or what just happened yesterday, we're keeping it honest and a little bit loud.
That's right. So get comfy because Girl Next Door has a lot to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I got to fact check your story a little bit. So I was not apprehensive. Let's talk about first impressions. That was sweet what you said about me and being a good friend and praise the Lord. But let me go back a little bit.
Go back. Let's see what you got to
So,
say.
So yes, we were my boyfriend and I were shacking. We joined.
I didn't even say nothing about y'all shacking.
I know.
Oh my God.
Good for the soul. I had to get it out.
To God be the glory.
But listen, yes, I was shy. This was my first impression of Tiffany.
Oh my God.
Very prim and proper. But in a good way, like very well put together, always dressed well. I think you just had Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
You may have been pregnant with Taylor when we joined.
Oh,
what year was she born?
She was born 2009.
Okay, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, you could have been, yeah, because about 08. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, but listen, y'all, her kids were together. Well, the one child at the time.
Yeah.
So Rihanna was always dressed nice. Her hair was done up. Tiffany was dressed nice. Just very well put together. And you would sit in one spot in the church. You don't probably know this, but I do. But if you're walking into the sanctuary, I can see it. You were sitting on the right-hand side, but maybe the second or third row and all the way to the aisle.
Yeah.
Usually. That's why I feel like you sat. So, so you're new to a church, you try to inch up closer and closer. And I was just like, man, that girl is just so well put together. Like and she was always nice, very polite. Like, hi, yeah, you can come here. And I was just like, I don't know.
See?
You know,
See?
I was shy. And she just seemed so put together that I guess it did make me apprehensive.
Really?
Yes, it did.
Oh,
and
friend.
I think we're going to talk about this kind of stuff later.
Yeah.
How you view yourself.
Yeah.
And then how you view others can play out in your actions. So
Yeah.
I viewed myself as not put together, and I viewed Tiffany as put together. So I was like, I'm okay sitting back. But I did eventually move to your row.
Yeah.
That's where Rihanna.
It was empty.
She's so funny now. She's a college student, but she would always ask me for gum. So
My
she was
Lord.
very young, and she couldn't pronounce gum right. So she would say dumb. So she would always say, do you have any gum? And she was also very polite and sweet. It's the cutest thing. Like I could see her little face like scooting closer to me on that road. She's like, do you have any gum? And I'm like, oh, I don't. Hey, you would get on to her.
Yeah, because we would have those talks before church. Don't you go in there asking for nobody for no dumb.
Yeah, so I started sneaking her dumb on the side. But it's so cute.
Oh my
but anyway, yeah, so yes, I was shy, y'all.
And I was shy too. I'm very shy.
Tiffany ain't shy.
No, I am shy. I am shy.
Yeah, shy.
But I force myself to like try to come out of the shyness and be amongst the people.
Apparently, unlike me. So yes. So I, like Tiffany said, our conversation started, and I remember, I don't know the exact date, but somewhere, like she said, around 2012 or 2013. I remember getting off the phone with you. This is just kind of my scattered memories, but I remember getting off the phone with Tiffany, as she said, we would have these deep conversations, and I remember feeling the best way I can describe it now would be like refreshed.
Yeah.
Light.
Yeah.
Just refueled.
Yeah.
Because you know how you can talk to people sometimes and it's just like,
draining.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like that. But then there was also something else unique about it where it just felt right. And I felt like there's no way only I can be benefiting from this or Tiffany can be benefiting from this. Like this has to be shared amongst women, because I don't know about you, but I had kind of a negative connotation when it came to female relationships.
Me too.
Like, oh, you can't trust women, blah, 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 blah. Whatever you may hear or whatever you've picked up, whether it be from elders or whatever.
Or experience, because mine came from experience.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Or experience. And then it just kind of plays out, like I said, into everyday life and your actions, these thoughts. And so, but I felt like this was right. And I felt in my spirit, I wouldn't have probably coined it this right, but I've grown in my walk. But I at that moment, God was speaking to me like, "Hey, this is something that you all need to do."
Yeah.
And like Tiffany said, she was like, and it was very scattered. So me taking the idea to her, I didn't know what she was gonna say, but she was
Yeah.
like, "Absolutely, yes." And she was. I don't know if you had no, maybe you hadn't started Still Win, or that was the early stages of Still Win
Yeah,
Productions.
it was because I started in 2011, so it was the early
Oh, yeah,
stages.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so she was getting off the ground with her, independent writing career, and it was doing well, her plays here in the Tampa Bay area, and so, like she said, time just seemed to get away from us, but ironically, God has now we're not in the same neighborhood now,
Yeah.
just to be clear,
Yeah.
but we are close enough to where there should not be any more excuses.
Mhm.
So God has literally almost
Yeah.
moved us next
Next
door.
door.
So it's like Tiffany texted me
Yeah.
before we recorded this, like, "Hey, let me know what time you're coming." I'm like 15 minutes out. So,
Yeah.
God has his hand is definitely in this. We know that he wants us to do this. And so we're just so excited. So
Yeah.
that's how the idea came about.
Yeah.
That's how we met. And I'm sure throughout this process, you'll hear Tiffany tell more lies about.
No, well,
I'm just kidding.
I'm only a truth teller
A
over
true
here.
tell yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
all.
I'll
That's
be
that's
honest.
it.
I am more of the creative writer, so I do like to exaggerate a
Yeah,
little bit. I
a
will
lot.
exaggerate a little bit. But so we told the people how this came about,
Yeah.
how we met.
Yep.
Uh so we want to share with you who this podcast is for.
Yes.
Now, disclaimer here, it really can be for anybody.
Anybody.
If you feel like you can get something out of it, you can get something out of it. You could be a guy, and I know it's entitled Girl
Yeah.
Next Door, but there may be something that you hear that just kind of encourages you. And you're like, you know what? I appreciate that nugget or that piece of wisdom. And so whether you're a mother navigating young children or you're sending children off to college, whether you're just trying to balance life. Maybe you have a lot going on. Maybe you're trying to do the thing that God has given your hand to do, but you're a mother, you're a wife, or
Mm.
you're a
Yeah.
caretaker of a parent or a loved one. I
Yeah.
believe you should be able to pull something, or we hope you'll be able to pull something from this. Or you're just like, hey, I need to see what authenticity looks like. I want to see
Yes.
what true sisterhood
Hood.
looks
Yeah.
like. Especially, can I just say this? This is not, yeah, we're all God's people, but especially women of color. Sometimes that is not promoted
Yeah.
um, so often. But whatever it is, I hope that that you can pull something from this as well. So that's kind of our target audience. Of
Yeah.
course, we're naturally targeting women, but anyone can pull from this.
Yeah.
So you you have anything to add that Tiff?
No,
Like
I
our
think you
vision,
I
what
think
we hope
you
for.
no, I think you summed it up very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I also stole your part too.
Yeah, you
We
did.
got
Yeah,
notes.
but it's out there now, so, what we gonna do with it? It's
Yeah,
out there.
listen,
Hey,
y'all.
we're a podcast that filled with faith, friendship, and just everyday life
Yeah, yeah,
that's it, everyday life conversations,
yeah.
and I think you summed it up.
Yeah, and Tiffany mentioned this earlier when she was talking. She said that, our relationship started off of honest conversations,
Yeah.
and we're being honest not just to tell our business. We're being honest because we hope that that will encourage and promote honesty amongst, you and your girlfriend relationships as well, because we believe that there is a true strength
Yes, it
when you can be
is.
vulnerable, when you can be
Vulnerable and
honest.
honest, yes.
Tiffany gave me accolades as a friend, but let me just tell you that I may have come up with the idea that God dropped in my head for Girl Next Door, but it was really birthed out of the authenticity that I experienced with her. Um, don't get caught up in first impressions. As you can see, we obviously had different
Yeah.
first impressions of one
Yeah.
another, but Tiffany, it does vulnerability and honesty so well to that it, at least for me, it has made me be accountable. I remember in the early stages of our friendship, I would share something with her, and she's like, "Okay, well, let's just talk about that because when you said this, it made me feel this way." And I had never seen people kind of handle conflict or handle just anything as it relates to life in such a mature and open way that I was not only convicted but encouraged to say, you know what, I want to live like that. I want to live like that, and this is how God has called us to live. So, yeah, that's why we're sharing. That's why we're being
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
so that you too can have that same experience.
Yeah. I think that was great. I think, yeah, I think sometimes we just find ourselves covering up and um, becoming a chameleon,
Mhm.
to blend into whatever friendship you're a part of, to
Mm.
keep
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
calm and
yeah.
everybody
Don't ruffle
happy
any
and yeah,
feathers.
don't
Yeah.
rough all of the good things. And um, people that mean something to me, I honestly feel like offense only makes your relationship stronger.
Mm.
Um, so when it happens, don't run away from it,
Yeah.
and that's the one thing that we didn't do, and we didn't have major offenses,
Right, right,
it
right,
was just
right.
like, the small,
Yeah, yeah,
typical,
yeah.
um, what is it? What is the
Relationship friction.
yeah,
Yeah,
the friction,
we're in
that's the word I was looking
relationship.
for,
Yeah,
just the friction that,
yeah,
relationships have, and especially as you're coming together and beginning to grow, and now we
yeah.
got years in, the friction happens, and sometimes when the friction happens, you find yourself running away from it instead of running to it.
Mhm,
And she meant something to me. Like, I
mhm,
valued her. I
mm.
valued our friendship. So I wasn't going to allow the friction to tear
Yeah,
us apart, because
yeah,
what happens is the friction happens and the friction continues to grow, grow, and grow. And now you have a big wedge between the two
yeah,
of you, and
yeah,
then the relationship has come to an end.
yeah.
So I don't know. And I can honestly say,
Mhm.
you my friendship with you was one of the first friendships where I started operating in that.
Mm,
Um my bishop, she was our pastor at the time, she's the bishop now, she preached on the spirit of offense, and I had never heard
mm.
anyone from across the pulpit talk about offenses.
Mhm.
It was always a horrible thing to me. It was
Right.
just like, you just don't, don't offend, don't
Mhm.
have confrontations. Like,
Yeah.
that whole subject matter was like, oh, stay away from it,
Right.
right? And when she taught that, it released me.
Mhm,
And I realized that, okay, in order to grow,
mhm.
not just in the relationship, but with yourself,
Yeah.
you have to face some of these things. And when you face it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative, it has to be a negative
Right,
outcome.
right.
This is going to help us bridge the gap and
Right.
then, walk over together, right?
Yeah.
So that truly helped me, and I started operating in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, I've grown tremendously, and my friendships have
Yeah.
grown because of it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's real good because now that you say that, it's like, had you not grown in that area, then that would have stunted my growth.
Yeah. My Lord, look
Right?
at
You know what
God.
I mean? So, thank God
Come
that you
on,
caught that.
Jesus.
Thank God that you caught that. No,
Yeah,
seriously, because
yeah,
I didn't know that that was your revelation and why you
yeah,
were walking that out. I just assumed, man, this girl is just really mature. She's on it, which you were, but I'm just saying, you
yeah,
now hearing the backstory is like, wow, if she hadn't done that, then that would have affected the relationship. It
yeah,
would have affected my growth. And so, I think that's important to note,
yeah.
as women, that what we do and how we walk out life affects not just us, but our relationships and our friendships. And we
That's
see
right.
that a lot of time in our marriages. We'll talk about that, but we don't talk about that
And
amongst in
friendships.
friendships,
That's
right?
very true.
Which brings me to another point that we wanted to bring up. How will faith play a role in this podcast? Listen,
Mhm.
we're Christian women, okay?
Yeah.
We are not here to be Bible study leaders, okay? You need to find you as the old folks say, a faith-filled church,
That's right.
a Bible teaching
That's
church
right.
where you can be discipled
That's
in the
right.
Lord's ministry. But
That's right.
this is a space, if we as we said again and again, for honesty, for openness, for vulnerability, where we're pulling on our shared experiences in life. We're pulling on our
Yes.
our experiences as sisters. And so, but because we're Christian women, you're gonna that's gonna come out. That's just who
Yeah.
we
It's
are. And
it's
so that's
yeah,
gonna come out and you'll see the role that it played.
inevitable.
Just like Tiffany just said, had she not heard that message across the pulpit, and received that as a Christian
That's
woman, that
right.
would have affected her, and then hence it would have affected our relationship. So, yeah, so faith plays a role in it, but our goal for this specific podcast is that you will be rooted in your faith, but also strengthened by sisterhood.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So we have shared a lot thus far. We hope that you are still tuned in. And I know you're wondering, what are the topics? What will we be discussing?
Mhm.
And we're just going to share a couple with you. One, conflict resolution
Mhm.
amongst friends. Like, You made me mad.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
made me feel a certain way. Like, how do we maneuver through that? How do we resolve that? So we'll be diving into that.
Mhm.
Health. How do you balance a healthy, lifestyle? Like,
Yeah.
how do you encourage each other to stay healthy and,
Yeah.
to did you work out today? Just all of the
Yeah.
things around
What
health
did you
and
eat?
yeah, what did you eat? How
Yeah.
are you maintaining fixing dinner for the family when you know you can't eat half of what they what you fixing them? Like,
Yes.
how do you do this? How do you meal prep? Like,
Yeah.
we share a lot of, tips and
Yeah.
encouragement around that. So we'll be diving into that.
Mhm.
And to kick off our second episode,
Yeah.
we will focus on our first topic will be reclaiming your dreams.
Yeah.
How many mothers, how many wives, you become a wife, you become a mother,
Mhm.
and you kind of lose yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it takes a moment for you to
Yeah.
like, recalculate this whole thing called life
Yeah.
and decide, hey, where do I fit in? I know where
Exactly.
I fit in as a wife, I know where I fit in as a mother, but where do I fit in as Tiffany?
Yeah.
Like, because I
Yeah.
know that God has called me to something. So what am I called to do
Yeah.
outside of, the blessings of being a wife and a mother?
Mhm.
And a businesswoman, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes there are dreams and there are,
Yeah.
things that you're called to do outside of those things. How do you reclaim that? What
Yeah.
is the process to get back to you? So
Yeah.
we're gonna that's gonna be the first topic that
Yeah.
we start off
I'm excited
with.
about
I'm
that.
excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a important season in my life. I
Yeah.
truly struggled in that area.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited to share
Yeah.
how I, overcame that
Yeah.
and the different things that led me to finding what God had called me to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, we got those topics. We have a ton more, but we also want you to know that we will be airing our content weekly.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
every week you can look forward to hearing from the Girl Next Door
Mhm.
podcast. I'm sorry, the Girl Next Door
Girl
podcast,
next door,
Girl
the
Next
girl,
Door
a girl.
podcast,
If
a
you a
girl, the
girl,
girl.
tune in.
Just find us
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah.
And we want to hear from you. We want to know, are you all enjoying the topics that we're discussing?
Yeah.
Or even if there's anything that you would prefer that we talk about, put it in the chat, inbox us. We want to hear from you and we want to cover the things that are important to you as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Listen, as Tiffany said, we're going to be releasing that content weekly. So we need you to subscribe. We
Yes.
need you to go to Facebook. We need you to go to Instagram. We need you to go to YouTube and look for Girl Next Door Pod. Okay.
Yes.
For Instagram, it should be Girl Next Door Pod. For Facebook, Girl Next Door Pod. And I believe the same for YouTube, but you'll find us
Yeah.
one way or another. Just find those websites. If not, you probably follow us personally.
Yeah.
Inbox us,
Yeah.
text us, and say, "Girl, where is the girl
Where
next
is
door?"
it?
And we will let you know. But we need you to go ahead and subscribe and tune in.
Yeah.
Again, as we said in the beginning, this is nothing that we've called ourselves to do. This is something that God has entrusted us with, and so
Yeah.
we pray that it's an encouragement to you and that you're able to get something out of it. Listen, our goal here is to make sure that you are encouraged to remain rooted in your faith,
Yeah.
but strengthened by sisterhood. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.